If you want to become a supporter of Boss Rush, you can head on over to patreon.com/Boss Rush Network. For as little as $1 a month, you gain early access to Expansion Pass and Gamescast, audio versions of Spoilercast and interviews, and more perks at the tier that's right for you. You can even follow us for free and gain all of our main shows on one feed. If you can't support us financially, no big deal. You can head on over to youtube.com/Boss Rush Network or bossrush.net for more great content. Thanks for helping us continue to build something better. Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Dirrig, and alongside me, as always, is the Jotun Toten, Vault Dwelling, Mayor of the Deepstone Crypt, God Slayer himself, Josh Finney.
Yeah, you kind of have to use that while you can, don't you?
Yeah, I'm bringing them all back. Don't worry, Josh. I have started a list for the finale of this show.
Of the most memorable names?
No, all of them.
Good Lord.
Well, all the ones that matter, I should say. So
there's a lot of them.
I know there are. There's 266 episodes to go through.
There's a lot of them.
Good thing YouTube has transcripts and I can just click on each one and it's usually right at the beginning. Oh, hi, Josh.
Hi, Corey.
Did you log in this week, Josh?
I did.
I also did.
I have played all 3 days, I think. I haven't gotten to play as much as I wanted to. This has been just a ridiculous week at work. I was telling Corey before we got started. I was at work at 5 this morning, came home, relaxed for a little bit, aka played Destiny for like an hour and a half before we got on. And right after this, I'm going to bed because I got to be back at work again, super, super early in the morning. So
isn't work great? Don't you love it?
Yeah, my team in particular is dealing with a lot of stuff at work right now. So I'm helping cover for some coworkers. And as a result, I'm getting some killer overtime, but it's taking a toll on me. I'm going to take some personal days, I think, in July.
Nice.
So that being said, I did not end up getting to take off on Tuesday for the release of the new content. And that's okay, because in true Destiny fashion, the servers crashed.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I
mean, it's been a while since we said we could say that, though. So that's
true. It has been quite a while since we were able to say that. So, is what it is. Yeah. The final update is here. There's a couple of little time gated things, namely Pantheon this coming Saturday, and that's really about it. I think everything else is in there now. So
yeah, that's crazy. I still it still hasn't really hit me that it's like kind of over.
It hit me when I loaded into the tower.
What, when the tower was like full for the first time in about a year and a half?
Funny enough, my tower was not full. I actually loaded into a totally empty tower. But seeing the big, there were one or two other people, I guess, but I think they left right away. They were in there doing the ball. That's how I found out that getting the giant traveler ball to spawn was one of the triumphs, because I got credit for it. And then they immediately pieced out. But seeing the big area that you should just be open and you could jump down in, seeing that filled in with the 4 kiosks it's a thing. It's a choice. I think it looks good, personally.
Yeah, I think it looks cool.
I kind of feel like this should have been done years ago, but it is cool. I like how it looks. It fits in naturally with the tower. And each of the kiosks represents one of the 4 tenets for the Guardian Oath, essentially. So like, one of them is really focused on rewards for Sparrow Racing League, for example. One is really focused on stuff from Pantheon and like armor sets and things like that, some really sick emblems. One is where you'll redeem a ton of engrams and like there's engrams, there's some emblems in there, some more like basic stuff, I guess you could say. And then there's like the last one, which I don't really know how to describe that one, but you're like, you can get the exotic and one of the new exotics in there, and or it's new to me at least. I'm sure it was already in the game, but it's new to me. The void linear that you can go get. All in
Mhm.
all, this works. This is a good system. It works. I have enjoyed looking through, seeing just the ridiculous amount of triumphs they've put in for the legendary marks.
Mhm.
I know people who are gonna, complete every one of them because they have, or close to the max triumph score that you could ever get in the game. And that's really cool. If you're a triumph whore, like some of us are, this is really cool. It is a big love letter to Destiny. That's the only way to really describe this. And some of the things that I've gotten to experience already really make me go, okay, clearly some people on some teams knew what was going to happen before this actually happened. They did
Mhm.
not find out last minute. They knew what was coming
Yeah.
because they
There's some
got to
pretty intricate stuff too,
yeah,
like
they've gotten to full send some things here.
yeah.
We're not talking about just bringing forward like quality of life improvements and things like that that were already like pretty clearly in the works. But in terms of loose threads that they're tying up, leaving the characters in certain places, getting dialogue for certain characters, there's a few that you can go interact with, and I'm only going to go up to talking about a certain amount of the interactions because there are 2 cutscenes that also released with this that I personally have not seen yet. I have remained unspoiled on them so far. I do know
I saw one pop up on Twitter. I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but I saw one of them.
I vaguely know what you need to do to get them. So that's going to be my task this weekend, is really just sitting down and grinding out some of these triumphs in order to get to them. All I can say is from the dialogue I have experienced so far, there's a couple with Lodi, there's Ikora, there's Mara, and there was somebody else. I feel like there was somebody else that I'm forgetting, but they do leave those characters and some of the story threads in a way that we got a little bit of closure and we got an example of what they wanted to do. But also, if they miraculously get to continue this universe, we kind of know where we would be going.
Mhm.
And I think that that's both great and insanely maddening. Like, to see where they were planning to go with this is just so frustrating. There are in the lore books, and we're going to go over some of the lore books in the coming weeks, obviously. I joked in Discord that Lore Corner will return. Starting tonight, I have 3 things I want to read, but there were hints to where we were going to go in this saga with the 9, that Tora Bottle was going to be brought into this, that
Mhm.
there was going to be a war within the Vexnet on a simulated fundament, that Teox, one of the like ancient pre-hive, one of the like the last of the krill, is still alive and is out there like in the Vexnet now. That's wild. Like, a hive civil war was coming. Seeing that Fenchurch has been telling Clovis about what's going on. Clovis writes a letter to Anna asking her to basically put him in a robot body and let him come talk to the Vanguard. He wants to join the Vanguard because he's heard about this whole binding the 9 thing. And like, Mara has figured out that Sahirito is still alive. Like, there are so many things happening. That's my phone ringing.
Do you need to take
There's
that? Is that important?
no, it is not.
Oh, okay.
There's so much going on in this universe that they leave us in a place where you could just come back and pick up these characters again.
Yeah.
I haven't read all of the lore that is in here, but so far, the characters I'm really not seeing a lot for are Keitel and Mithrax.
Hmm. I wonder why.
I don't know. That's kind of a fascinating question. Why? So we get left in some good places and some really maddening places.
Yeah.
I've traditionally resisted talking about leaks on this show, but I kind of feel like with it being the end, this is, if there was ever a time, it's now.
Yeah.
And I really hate that I'm going to have to bring these up. So let me see if I can find.
I mean, there's only a few episodes left, so I mean, we might as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I had one of them saved and I wanted to bring it up. I bookmarked it. That's right. Did I bookmark it? No, I did not. I thought I did. Well, shit. Did I screenshot it maybe? If not, I know where to go to find it, but I could have sworn it. I did not. Okay. Un momento. So, one of the data mine and leaks accounts that's been out there that actually was shockingly like kind of accurate in a lot of regards. Really, really surprising. But I kind of like poo-pooed some of their stuff over the years, and like I didn't really like looking into it because I'm not a big fan of looking into it. They came out and said basically, yeah, so we were sitting on some stuff at the end of last year and didn't really know when we wanted to bring that up. But they god damn, I gotta find where they posted this somewhere. Where is it?
It
Oh, I'm
just,
so fucking mad.
I'm just going through like everything that I saw and played a little bit, and like it's just like I can't believe like I don't understand how they held all this. Like why like you know what I mean? Like there's I don't know. I'm so I just feel like the game is in the best place it's been in so long and it's ending. You know, like this should have been the update that came with Edge of Fate at the very latest.
Yeah, I mean, we were promised for how long that we were going to get a quality of life update, and it just never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I found the post. I couldn't find it on the
He
original one, but
found it,
I
everybody.
found a
He
screenshot
found
of it.
it.
So Deekstony Zero, that leaked and data mined a lot of shit, whole lot of shit. Said basically everything that they had heard from their sources, like what the story was going to be, and who knows if this is real or not, right? But I think there's probably enough evidence that at least some of this would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, the first bullet point, we're going to go old Chicago and find out the monster was actually 3 and needs a vessel to bind to, similar to Dredge and Vale and 6 in Renegades. Bale succumbs to 6 and acts as a Cronenberg-style monster that we need to deal with, aka kill. The initial plan for the Guardian is to bind to 3, therefore truly becoming the weapon. Our Guardian says, fuck that, and binds 3 to the Traveler instead, repairing it from the incidents in Lightfall and turning the Light into a new power entirely, which would have been the final subclass. Bind the 9 and the Guardian becoming the weapon were all code for us becoming a vessel for the 9 to fight against the Vex, who were going to get a substantial focus as the new big bads of the franchise. I
Wow,
feel like
sounds great.
a lot of this feels like conjecture and like things we probably could have deduced for ourselves. But nonetheless, it's really frustrating. Like reading in the lore pages that I've read about like Torbottle and Fundament and just man, this is stuff that we'd wanted to see for years, and we speculated that that's what Frontiers was going to be, was us going to these destinations and reclaiming some of them. I just I've seen people be like, Sony, you can still reverse course and get us Shattered Cycle, and like, guys, I don't know how to tell you this. Shattered Cycle, yeah, probably is like close to being done at this point. I would say it's probably like 75% done,
Mm-hmm.
at least. But I'll put it this way. It's fun to entertain the idea of a Destiny 3, right? We all want to have hope. We all want to continue to live in this world. I've seen people be like, Sony's silence has just been so weird on all this. No, it's not. Look how long Bloodborne fans have wanted news.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
Also,
No,
like,
no meme.
it's not Sony's job to communicate Destiny. It's Bungie's, right? And like, yeah, okay, it's Sony's job to like manage and say,
Yeah.
okay, you should continue or not, but it's not their job to tell us. It's Bungie's job.
I do think it would be something for Herman Holst to acknowledge that there is
Okay.
a community desire for this,
Sorry, you
because
said
I
Herman
feel
Hulst
like
made me laugh.
you would have gotten this in the Sean Layden era,
Oh yeah.
but the Jim Ryans and Herman Hulsts of the world, you're never going to get this kind of communication, right? And a friend of mine said this, and I don't necessarily agree with him, but he goes, "Imagine if Xbox actually had bought Bungie instead of Sony." And I don't want to engage in revisionist history or anything. I do think, looking back on it, this is one of the only situations where I feel like I'd ever say this. I do think Xbox would have been a better steward of it, purely for one reason, and that's because they are so hyper focused on things that make them money long term, as long term bets,
Yeah.
and they just want consistent revenue. I mean, like, things like 76 and ESO and Sea of Thieves are all still going. There's no question in my mind Destiny 2 would still be going. Or that they would have been like, hey, you need to think about making a Destiny 3. You need to be thinking about making that.
Yeah, but they would have found a path for Destiny to move forward
Yeah, and
in a
then again
meaningful way.
at the same time, on my other hand, I'm like, well, after the Activision acquisition, and I mean, like, hey, the Activision acquisition changed everything, right? Like, maybe that gives you a little bit more clearance. Hey, we're making so much fucking money from Call of Duty, we can invest in another live service game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it didn't happen. It was always just hearsay, although enough credible people that I believe had knowledge of it and would have had knowledge of those discussions confirmed they were real. It feels pretty obvious to me that it didn't happen because they were worried about the runway here, right? They were worried about how much it was going to cost to buy Bungie and how much it was going to cost to fund those projects and this and that. They probably thought Marathon was nowhere near releasing. And, in the end, I mean, at that point, they weren't considering buying Activision yet, right? This
Mm-hmm.
was all coming out right around the time that the Bethesda purchase ended up going through, right? Bethesda gets announced like 2 months after these rumors are going around. And I do feel like Bungie ultimately needed some sort of corporate structure to oversee them. Because, listen, I don't like Activision, but Activision wanting a new game every couple of years with expansions does make sense the more you look at it. They just weren't willing to keep bankrolling it after, because really, if you want to start pointing fingers, it's the disastrous launch of Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's the launch of Vanilla and how bad it was that first year. We all remember how bad launch was. We all remember how bad Curse of Osiris was. Warmind brought a few people back, but that's why they had to pull the grenade and say, oh, hey, by the way, we're going to reveal that we're killing Cade here now so that people get interested and come play again. Yes, players came back, but never to the amount that there were at the launch of D1 and D2, because ultimately a new game will always bring those people in.
Mm-hmm.
And I shouldn't even say always at this point, because it's pretty clear that I don't think it would have continued happening. I think that Bungie's name as a studio was probably tainted somewhere around the time of Beyond Light, if it hadn't been before that. The memes were already going around for years at that point about D1 Vanilla. So where does that leave us? I think we have to just kind of enjoy what we've got. And I'm happy that we got 12 years with this franchise. It's honestly longer than I thought we were going to get. I
I mean,
I
they
would
only
have put
promised us 10.
I know they promised us 10 and none of us thought it was going to make it to 10. To
I
be
don't know
honest,
if
we were all
anything
like,
thought.
that's audacious. Four main releases in 10 years, like that's crazy. And now I look at it and I'm like, man, I kind of wish we would have just like stuck to that. It would have made it easier to contain story arcs and, progression and weapons and this and that. I'll
Uh,
always wonder what could have been.
yeah, I almost wonder if they could do like, and I know this is like a pipe dream and it would cost a lot of money to even do this, let alone a Destiny 3, but like almost like Assassin's Creed does, where like they have that Assassin's Creed hub, and like
Yeah.
they would do like the timeline of like, okay, well, you can play this campaign, or you can play this campaign, or you can play through this, some sort of version of this seasonal model or whatever, and then like as you progress, it like downloads the packages, or you can choose what you download or whatever. I don't know. It's
Which
just a
is
thought.
something that I've pitched for a long time. The
Hmm.
unfortunate part is we now know that through, various lawsuits, and it's hilarious we had to find out that way, that basically everything pre-Shadowkeep no longer exists because it had to be rebuilt and it just no longer exists. Which I I've become a conspiracy theorist that they were building stuff to bring forward because Pantheon Pantheon 2,
Hmm.
one of the rotations that you have, has Galran, Eater of Worlds, and Callus in it.
Hmm.
Has the boss fights from each of those. I don't think you bring those forward without the intent of eventually bringing that back because they had already said anything from those releases they would have had to have completely remade by hand in order to bring forward.
Yeah.
So I will always wonder what I shouldn't even say for like pre-Forsaken. It's literally just everything from year one
Hmm.
because all the Forsaken stuff technically came forward.
Hmm.
I
I know.
I will always wonder what could have been. Like I can excuse not bringing Wrath of the Machine forward as much as that hurts. Like whatever. That's like the last piece of like true D1 content that I would have wanted brought forward. I've always been clear about that. They hinted at it so many times that it was coming and then it just never did. Whatever. I'll get over that. What really grinds my gears though, and it's something that's always going to be remembered. And I do think people harp on it a little too much, but it's like, man, content that we paid for is gone. And that has always bothered me. And that's really going to bother me now because I'm not saying that I'm rushing to go replay the Red War or replay Warmind or do those strikes or do Leviathan or anything like that. It's like I understand why it's all gone. But if the game was going to be sunset, it would have been really cool if they would have said, okay, hey, the vast majority of you are going to get moved to Marathon. As for the rest of you, the last thing you can do, like your last update you can do is we're going to bring forward the remaining raid content, if nothing else. We're going to bring forward the remaining raid content and put it in there. Maybe bring the strikes back. I understand the logistics of bringing back patrol zones. Like that's just not going to happen, right?
Mm-mm.
I understand not bringing
Well,
forward entire
most of them are
campaigns.
already back anyway,
Yeah,
technically.
you're mainly missing Titan. Well, I mean, Titan was basically brought back.
Yeah.
You're missing IO.
Hmm.
You're missing, I mean, all the strikes associated with Titan, IO, Tangle Shore. You're missing all that stuff. You're missing
Yeah, but at
the
that point, you got to think about how big is that file size going to be at that point.
well, and
Like, I
that's
mean,
where it comes into download what you want.
yeah.
Uninstall the campaigns as you want, which I always firmly believe needed to be a thing because once I've done the campaigns, I don't usually play them again. I don't really replay the Destiny campaigns.
Hmm.
If I want to, see the story again, I go watch a Let's Play or I watch the cutscenes on YouTube. And I do understand from that perspective of like, well, why would we put forth all this effort when people just aren't going to play it again? And yet at the same time, there was never an entry point into the game after they got rid of the Red War. There was just never a thing. Like looking back on it, I don't want this to be just like another gripe session, but like looking at the new light stuff, it's always been really weird how the Cosmodrome was brought forward. And you did the D1 intro missions, and then you just suddenly show up at the tower. Like the Red War is going on all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the Red War, it was just like, oh shit, you're just at the tower. And like, here you like, it's dumb. It's dumb. It was never done well. They always talked about how we need a new player experience. And we had known that since Shadowkeep, but we just never got one.
Yeah.
Almost 7 years later, and we never got it.
Yeah, but that that's the problem with not only just taking the stuff out of vanilla D1 and or D2 and just showing up at the tower, but that's the problem with the sequel period, right? I mean, the new light experience should start in Destiny 1. I don't know. It just feels very disconnected. It's always felt disconnected after the Taken King came out, I feel like, and like it's just always felt bad. Even now, like you go through it and like it's barely a tutorial even. It's just like, oh, you woke up and then you go through and then you do the new not Omnigul strike.
Yeah.
And then you're in the tower. Like partway through the story.
I just failed to understand what was so bad about starting out with the Red War. And I get it. Part of Bungie's argument was, we want you to just be able to play with your friends. Well, your friends are now really fucking confused. Let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
They're real confused. I think there should what really the new light experience should have been is cut out all of the filler missions, which, I mean, I've talked about this extensively on the show. Cut out all the filler missions, have like 7 or 8 essential story missions for the Red War that you need to do in order to understand what's going on in the universe, what's going on here, and unlock your original 3 subclasses, and then you can go do whatever journey you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that may not be like super appealing or super awesome for new players, but we all had to do that when D2 came out. We all played it. And remember, the farm was our social space. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, you're at the tower. Like it was this big triumphant moment. It's still probably my favorite musical cue in the whole series is the track "The Last City," and it's the tower music right now. It's been the tower music for a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
But that moment walking into the quote unquote new tower was so cool. It was so good.
It was very good.
And here we are.
Yeah, it's sad. I feel,
yeah.
I mean, when I logged in, I was like happy and sad. I had like so many emotions when I logged in the other day, and like, I put on the armor that I finished D1 in, and I finished that finished the camp the final shape in. Like, I don't know. I just wanted to feel really nostalgic while I was in there, and I was watching people jump around and pointing at each other and dancing with each other and buying stuff from Eververse and going over to the Cryptarch and like looking at the new stuff. And I'm like, it has been so long since I've felt this way about Destiny. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I love Destiny, but like this felt very, I mean, I think the last time I felt this way was the ending of the final shape. Like, seriously, like just that nostalgic kind of, here we are, everybody's here kind of celebrating the game and celebrating being a Guardian and Bungie and Destiny. Like it was awesome. And like,
and that's what I keep coming back to is, man, just, yes, Sony and Bungie have both fumbled this. Pete Parsons and upper management is to blame for a lot of it, but it will just forever bewilder me that Sony did not immediately tell them, well, hey, your golden goose is Destiny. You said you have a plan, because surely they had to have seen the plans. They had to have seen the plans and the documents for the roadmap of where this was going. They knew Marathon was part of it. They knew about the Destiny expansions. Like, I would have looked at them
Well, they
dead in the
clearly knew
eyes.
about Gummy Bears and Project Payback too.
Yeah, and like, well, Payback, maybe. We don't know how far along it was, because at the time,
Well, I mean, they
Luke,
probably threw some sort of concept in there, right?
they
I mean,
probably had a
didn't see the
concept.
game.
I would think it would be more akin to like how Avowed was a concept and Pentiment was a concept when Obsidian was bought by Microsoft. That's kind of where I think Payback would have been. But you have all these ideas, and nobody in the room thought to go, hey guys, we know this might not be super popular with you because you've been working on the game for so long. Have you thought about doing a Destiny 3? Like, can we maybe start siphoning a little bit of your team off, or give you the funds to grow your team just a little bit more, and you take some of the leads and start pre-production on a Destiny 3? You start planning where you want this to go. The story teams can kind of bounce back and forth, this and that. Maybe you take, at the time, Julia Narden was still one of the main storytellers. Like, maybe take her and like Robert Brooks, and you're like, hey, can you guys start brainstorming what the main campaign for, like, what the main campaign story for a Destiny 3 would look like to introduce players to a new saga? Like, imagine you do something like that.
I mean, if you expanded the Edge of Fate into like a massive Witch Queen style campaign, and that was the beginning of Destiny 3, like I've like we both said, like, the story is awesome.
Yep.
Campaign was small. The end game content, obviously the portal was something. But I think there was enough there that you could have expanded it and made that the beginning of Destiny 3, and like the episodes could have held people over, and you could have even extended the episodes out, an extra.
I'm even going to say that I'm going to say something even a little like controversial here.
Oh boy.
I think you even would be okay if we had sat here and been told post final shape, okay, guys, we have a roadmap of where we want to go. We want to tease the next saga to you with the final 2 expansions. We're going to do this. We're going to do the episodes. We're going to do 2 final expansions that are going to be a bit smaller, but you're going to get one in 2025 and you're going to get one in 2026. In 27, we're going to do where our plan is to conclude with Moments of Triumph again, and then we're going to go into Destiny 3.
And in the meantime, if you want to play something different,
that,
you can play Marathon, right?
Like, yeah, if you had explained that and been like, hey, in the meantime, we're going to launch our next game, Marathon. We've got an air game in incubation, MOBA, Gummy Bear, whatever you want to call it. That's still a code name. Like, whatever that ends up being, like, we've got this that we're working on. We've got other games, but we want to grow as a studio beyond Destiny. I think everybody would have gone, okay, that makes sense. We always just wanted the reassurance that resources were not being siphoned off. And obviously we know that, to a degree, some of them were. And there's nothing we can do about it now, but it's like, it feels like adults needed to be in the room long before they were. By the time the adults got in the room after the disaster of Lightfall, it was too late. And I do think that, and I mean, like, listen, one of the reasons Sony was able to get them was because they promised them the autonomy, right? I really feel like whoever ended up buying them just needed to stay firm and be like, no, you can't have that. But they've also done something that not a lot of studios have been able to do, and that's crack MMOs for a console audience. It's estimated that at one point on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever it was, I saw the numbers from, that there were concurrent players across Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox at around 350,000, I think. And that would easily be the biggest concurrent, daily active users since Final Shape. Easily. Easily. Steam had its biggest since Final Shape alone. Like, at what point was somebody going to be the adult in the room? Like, realistically, that first round of layoffs, that is the point that I feel that Sony needed to step in and go, okay, that's it. you just had to do a big layoff. We just bought you guys not even 2 years ago.
Mhm.
That's it. Upper management is gone. You're gone. We got to step in. We got to step in now to get this game out, to
Yeah.
get final shape out, and all kudos to whoever was left after that first round of layoffs. They delivered an incredible experience, and then they were rewarded by being fired.
Right.
Because they had to go through another mass layoff. The fact that Sony didn't seem to step in and take control of the situation after either of those is shocking to me. It is absolutely shocking to me. They waited till the game was absolute, and this is what happens when you have a studio group that is not experienced in live service and has historically not been good at live service and not been good at online multiplayer games. This is
Mhm.
what happens. They didn't have Bungie usually had a Microsoft or they had an Activision to keep them on track and on deadline, and you have to deliver this. That's partly why they wanted to leave Microsoft. Oh, Microsoft just wants us to keep churning out Halo. Like, yeah, they probably would have let you make Destiny too if you had just talked to them.
Yeah.
But Destiny was barely a concept at the time, right? And then
There's a
Activision, oh, we're
poster.
going to Activision. We got a 10-year publishing plan and this and that. And then, oh, we bought our independence from Activision. And listen, that's all great. We all celebrated it. Activision sucks. Bobby Kotick sucks. Okay. That's a fact. That's a
Mhm.
fact. Like, yes, it was a good thing. But what I don't think any of us realized was, yeah, when you got to answer the shareholders, there's timelines and deadlines that have to be met. And ultimately, players get it pretty good as a result.
Mhm.
So, like, I saw somebody dredge up some Twitter replies to some stuff around the time of Forsaken's release, like shortly after. They're like, "Man, we didn't know how good we had it." Like, no, we really didn't. And there's been plenty of times like that throughout the game's history where I've sat here and had to go, "Man, we really didn't know how good we had it." And there's been some really bad times too. There's been
Mhm.
some really shitty times. Specifically some of the later seasons, I would say post Lightfall seasons, really, really rough. Really, really rough.
I
Hell,
mean
even
I
post
mean,
Witch
Lightfall.
Queen.
Lightfall was
Yeah,
rough.
Lightfall itself. I mean, if you want to point the finger at D2 year one like I do, yeah, but I mean, a more recent finger to point it at is the complete failure of Lightfall that just felt like nothingness. It just kind of existed. It didn't have the emotion. We didn't feel the emotional draw to Neomuna or to Nimbus or any of them like we did in Forsaken, like we did to the story of Cade and the story of Uldren. And then, oh my God, we got Last Wish Abbott. Oh my God, the Dreaming City. There's the Curse of the Dreaming City. Oh, Savathun is talking to us through the lore. And oh my God, oh, we got the first dungeon. Like, oh, that's so cool. And then you got that whole year of content. Like, people love to talk about opulence for good reason, right? And like, oh, we never had it as good as opulence again. Like, yeah, support studios were working on that while Bungie themselves built like the raids and the next expansion. So, like, yeah, of course we never got that much ever again. Like, you look at those seasons, like, okay, Black Armory, you got a raid, you got the Forges, you got some other stuff. Joker's Wild, you got Gambit Prime, you got The Reckoning, which ooh,
Mhm.
we don't like to talk about The Reckoning. And
I
then
do.
with Opulence, you get Menagerie, which is one of the most celebrated things Destiny's ever had. You get Crown of Sorrow, you get a good seasonal story, and it helps set the stage for what's going to come in Shadowkeep. It's like, oh my God, like you get all this stuff, and that was all part of a season pass. So, but when you look at that, like Vicarious Visions did a lot of that, High Moon did a lot of that. And once they were out from underneath the Activision umbrella, those guys weren't there to make that anymore.
Mhm.
Bungie simply didn't have the resources despite having so many people. And I do think it ultimately is a result of resources spread too thin, too many projects in incubation. Once you get to the point of, okay, Marathon's going to be our next game. Great. Stop incubating other games. Support your main game while slowly hiring up and moving people over to Marathon. It's not rocket science.
Mhm.
And just it makes me worried about the future of Bungie as a studio. This is not going to be the last time we talk about this. I have a feeling. But it makes me really worried about them.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the future holds for the franchise. I don't think it's a Destiny 3 though.
I mean, I if anything, it's just gonna. I bet it's a bunch of smaller. If it continues, a bunch of smaller, almost Halo-esque style campaigns.
I would be okay with that.
I mean, I would too. I think that world is big enough. And I think the people who really loved Destiny are adults now who don't have time to play Destiny the way it truly needs to be played anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to get new players in, and you're missing half that's the way to go. And like, if you want to add like skill trees or whatever, or like
there has to be a replayability factor at this point.
Yeah, or like use data from Destiny 2 to, you know, import your Guardian or whatever, or if it's about like the NPCs, like I think there is a I don't want to say a cheaper, but like a cheaper, smarter way of continuing this franchise without having to deal with all of this. And maybe even Bungie doesn't make some of it, you know, maybe some other Sony first or second party studios do it, and with Destiny or with Bungie in a producer style role, the way that, you know, certain studios do, right? So like, I don't know. There's definitely a way to do it. I want this world to continue. I wouldn't mind them going back to Halo style campaigns with some sort of upgrade tree or upgrade path or whatever.
I do feel like that's kind of the future, right? And we're talking Destiny and Bungie, but it is something that's been living in my head for the last couple of days after seeing the memo that was distributed by Asha Sharma yesterday to Xbox employees, basically warning them like, hey, restructuring and layoffs are coming. We're operating at a 3% profit margin, which is abysmal for a console business, by the way. Nintendo and Sony operate at 15%, or Nintendo and PlayStation. So Xbox being 3% is really, really fucking bad. But basically saying, you know, hey, to get us healthy again, we're going to scale back on like the passion projects and this and that. We're going to focus more on our bread and butter and on our IPs, but also like we can't be waiting 7 or 8 years for a game to come out. You can't have another State of Decay or Perfect Dark situation, essentially. You just can't. That's dumping hundreds of millions of dollars into something that may never come out. Thankfully, State of Decay 3 probably will, but you know, the canceled Cyberpunk Destiny-esque MMO that ZeniMax was making, Perfect Dark. You know, those are two really good examples of just absolute money sinks that we'll never see the results of. And then you probably wasted like close to $1 billion making those games. I don't know. I'm throwing a number.
Yeah, but if you cancel those, you can make those tax write-offs, right? So like,
but still, like you.
I mean, I know it's dumb, it's terrible. You still sunk a lot of money in there, but
millions of man hours that could have been used, you know, making something else.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same reason why Sony refunded everybody who bought Concord, right? Like,
yeah. And I mean, Concord, like that's another thing. And honestly, I would have seen the failure of Concord and been like, okay, if I'm Sony, like, okay, that's it. I'm doubling down. Like Xbox, or not Xbox, Bungie, you know, you want a check to go do what you want to do. You guys at least have a proven track record. Here you go. Go do it. Go do your thing. And the reality is nobody wants to bet $500 million on a game that might not be a consistent revenue source right now. You need shorter, smaller games because gaming is no longer an affordable pastime, thanks largely to companies like OpenAI and Microsoft and Meta and whoever else that have made it just insanely unaffordable thanks to the rising costs of memory and storage. So you're really left with a couple of options. Either let your franchises fade into obscurity or find a way to retool them for a new audience. You at a certain point, it's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. And Destiny is one of the very few bigger, like MMO style franchises that I feel really could do these smaller scale games and still get people to play them. Like, what is wrong with giving me a $45-$50 single player, campaign exploration style? Like, yeah, it may not be an MMO anymore, but hey, if I can get as much time out of it as I got out of Miles Morales, great.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could still use like.
I think of Infamous First Light. I think of things like that where they used some existing assets and made a more affordable game, but gave a brand new experience to players.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they could almost. I mean, not that they would, but they could almost use the base of Destiny 2 to build campaigns within it. Like, I know you don't really want to do that, but they could do that. I mean, they already do that. But you would have to make it clear that, like, hey, this is just. But also, you want to differentiate it from Destiny 2. But, I just. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of ways you could do this, and I don't know, man. It just sucks. It sucks. And I know we've been really negative, and rightly so, about Destiny and Bungie and everything over the last couple of years, but
Yeah,
it just sucks. And I think we've been negative because, I mean, we've said this ad nauseum at this point, but we're negative on the game and the studio because we love this franchise so much, and the studio has been so incredibly mismanaged. And now Sony has no idea what to do with live service stuff. Like, it's I don't know. I'm talking in circles now, but I'm frustrated.
I'm frustrated too. I've gotta move on before I get even madder, though, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to take away from a lot of the good. I am working my way through the exotic mission right now. I believe there are 3 sections to it, and I've done the first 2. I have not done the third, if there's a third. I'm trying to stay intentionally unspoiled, but the exotic kit is really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool, and it's got one of the most unique animations. One of my favorite reload animations ever in a Bungie game, I think. So I really like that. It clearly was supposed to be the exotic mission for Shadow and Order. I'm glad we still got it. I mean, it's the only thing that's still referencing the Imperium, which is really funny. Like, all the triumphs that you do for Monument of Triumph largely ignore Kepler and what you call it, like, wherever the fucking syndicates are, the Mos Eisley Cantina. They just largely ignore both of those, which is very amusing to me. Just like, yeah, we remember the only thing you guys really liked out of this was Lodi, so here's a lot of Lodi. We had Brian under contract for like 5 more appearances, so we had to cram them all into this. So that's why he's got a shitload of dialogue. How many NDAs do you think they signed him to?
800.
Like, he's got to be NDA'd until the end of time, talking about what this must have been like recording, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, like,
meanwhile, should we take bets on if Shax's voice actor, Lenny James, actually knows that the game has ended?
Well, he did one of those Twitter video things.
Did he really?
Yeah, it was either Twitter or Instagram.
I don't think he's recorded dialogue literally since the Red War.
No, it was definitely him.
That's crazy. He has done it since.
Unless somebody did an Aeon.
Oh, that's so fucking funny to me. He was genuinely the one that I was like, man, has anybody like called him to tell him what's going on? That dude's just been getting residual checks for ages, and they're going to stop. He might have to do a 3rd Walking Dead spinoff.
Yeah.
I do think, though, that all the tributes that we've gotten from the voice actors, it's been really special. It's been really special and really unique.
A lot of the Eris, the voice actress for Eris, was being retweeted a lot.
Yeah, the ones from Moira and from Deborah Wilson, like, pretty much broke me.
Mm-hmm.
They were really good. Like, and it's, I understand for like a lot of these voice actors, like this is their career. Like this is either the game that launched them into having like tons of roles, or so many of them have been like, this is a favorite role of mine. Like Nathan Fillion has always said like he loved doing Cade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like him coming back for the final shape was really special. That's something. And I mean, like, just the more I go back to it, I'm like, that's as much as I'm enjoying Monument of Triumph, final shape is always going to be the end in my mind. These were
Mm-hmm.
just bonus stories that we got after that.
Mm-hmm. It kind of sucks though, because like the
So
Lodi's story was really cool.
Lodi story is awesome. That is one of the things I'm really gonna miss. Like when I think about things that we didn't get that are just teased in the lore, I'm like, okay, I'm upset about this, but inevitably there was always gonna be something we weren't gonna see. Right. There was always gonna be, no matter if the game ended now or 10 years from now, we were always gonna have something that we were like, man, I wish we'd gotten to see that on screen. Right. With Lodi, it's a little bit different because it's a character that like we just met. I think that the community universally loves. The voice actor is beloved already.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember him getting a crash course in the game and in the lore from Bife and Fallout. They played through the campaigns with him and did Final Shape with him and everything. And he retweeted the image of them after Excision, and that was just such a cool thing to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to see people come into this universe and just embrace it so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was more than a paycheck for some of these people,
Yeah.
and
I
that's
mean,
what hurts, I think.
look how like amazing Lance Reddick was, right?
My
When
god,
he went,
dude.
like that whole like his whole persona online became about Zavala almost, right? Like it just every time he put a video up, it
Yeah.
was it was just yeah it's because these characters are so well written and they're so well acted, and like it really makes the universe feel lived in and real, and these characters, we care about them, it's not uncommon in games these days, but there's a magic to that, when these characters, even when you start bringing new characters in, or in Destiny 2, when they finally started fleshing out the other characters, or, when Taken King came out and we got Cade's story, and they started fleshing him out instead of just the three dudes in the tower, right? Like that you go
Yeah.
to depending on what class you are. It
Mhm.
just, it became more than a game, and it just became more than a game to all of us.
Yeah. Like, I've seen people who haven't played in years wander back, where the last time they logged in was doing Excision.
Mm-hmm.
And going, oh, I want to come back one more time and see what's new and celebrate, and like, oh, SRL is back. I remember SRL from Destiny 1. Oh, I want to come do some races. And like, I haven't gotten a chance to do SRL yet. I will do some this weekend. Next episode, I'm gonna have a lot to talk about. Man, it's just, this final update though is the ultimate love letter to the community though. Like, if the final shape was the love letter to the game and to the characters in the universe, this is the love letter to the community. Because I don't know many games that would drop this as a final update. It would just be an end of service message and that's it. But we get all these features and all this content they'd already been working on. I've already complained about it, so I'm not going to do it again here. I want to focus on the positive for this. Like, yeah, a lot of this is stuff we asked for a long time, but hey, in the end, we finally got it. And I still maintain that I think that this would have been enough on its own to save the game and keep it going through Shattered Cycle, maybe another year of content.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the way the world works,
Right.
unfortunately. And when everything's driven by profit margins, it's the players that pay the price because somebody on a spreadsheet isn't seeing that it's making as much money as, God of War or Grand Theft Auto or something like that. It's not making Spider-Man money.
Mm-hmm.
And these games are expensive to maintain. Destiny is
Yeah.
really, it's just such a unique game. Like, it's so bad that Warframe is basically having an in-game funeral.
Mm-hmm.
That's how bad things have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, Corey, we do have a question tonight.
Let's get
and I
it.
debated if I was going to read it on air or not, because I really felt like this was one that I wanted to save for the finale. But I'm going to go ahead and read it.
Let's do it.
I'm
We're
going
gonna
to
have so much for the finale, dude. That like,
yes, but mainly because I think it's hilarious and I wanted to save it for the end. But because I nixed their first question, which was talk about the cutscenes, because, you know, I haven't gotten to them yet. The one and only Jiggly Panda asked an extremely fitting question. One final time. What was your favorite crossover in Destiny? And what was your least favorite crossover in Destiny?
I mean, the Mass Effect one, I think, is still my favorite. I love the Mass Effect one.
I mean, I think the best one has to be Street Fighter. Or Ghostbusters.
I hate you so much. I hate you.
Did we all just collectively agree to pretend that those did not happen?
Mm-hmm.
I actually kind of forgot about Street Fighter until A1 Johnny brought it up to me earlier. Because he saw this question and he asked me about it. I was like, God damn it. I forgot about both of those.
Yeah. What all crossovers? So there was The Witcher, there was the Sony franchise ones, there was the Assassin's Creed one,
Fortnite,
the Dungeons and Dragons,
Magic. I'm not counting Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm not counting the 30th anniversary stuff either.
No.
I mean, I still really love the Mass Effect one. It fits in the universe. It looks cool. Like I think that's still my favorite one.
I think for me, it's probably Dungeons and Dragons. I think the D&D set. I think all 3 armor sets are just awesome. They're awesome. The cosmetics are really cool. It felt like it was just weird enough to be part of this. Not like in a way of like, oh, Ghostbusters and Street Fighter are showing up here. Doki Doki Literature Club. That was the one. Remember that? We got the Doki Doki armor. Corey's trying to forget.
Mask. I'm
mask.
Cat mask.
What
was that K-pop one or like the J-pop one of like all the pink, colorful? There's like a weird crossover. I forget what it was, but it came out like right after the Fortnite one. Kind of forget what that was.
I don't remember.
Man, how long until we get new Destiny characters in Fortnite?
Dude,
Where's Cade?
I don't know how to break this to you. I don't think that we're getting another Destiny crossover with Epic. Sadly.
Good.
Sadly, I don't think that we're getting that. I would actually say
crossover they just did. They just did something weird.
They do a lot of weird crossovers. I know, but
it was like extra weird.
I would say that I actually think that the Fortnite crossover, which was the first one, is one of the better ones. And I think it's because it went both ways. You got Zavala, you got Elsie, and you got Ikora in Fortnite. And it's so weird that Elsie is there and not Cade, but okay, sure. But you also got the Fortnite armors in Destiny, but they looked like they belonged in Destiny. So I like when the crossovers go both ways and not just one way. Like, remember when For Honor did that really weird Shaxx and Saint 14 thing?
Yeah, remember Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, the best Shaxx model we've ever gotten.
Those were the most amazing models I've ever seen.
Those were so detailed.
So good.
I'm so upset. I'm just like beside myself.
You think Ubisoft will license the Destiny license and make Destiny's Creed and just make an open world RPG with Destiny characters in it?
Dude, if I have to climb towers and sit up there with eagles and dive into like I don't know Vex milk, I'm gonna be upset.
Vex Milk.
I'm gonna be
Yes.
just ugh. Least
Josh
favorite.
loves his Vex Milk.
I think we just described our least favorites with a combination of Street Fighter, Ghostbusters, and Doki Doki.
I mean, it's gotta be the Ghostbusters one for
It's
me.
gotta be. It's gotta be some combination of those. They're all just abysmal. They're all bad.
They're bad.
They're bad.
I don't know. Like, I don't really like the marathon one either. I don't think that style fits in the Destiny universe.
Have you looked at the marathon armor in the game?
I only looked at the ship and the Sparrow.
So the marathon armor is earnable from the Monument of Triumph. And I have to say, the assassin armor on Hunter looks really good. I think it's a choice that the Warlock is recon and not triage, but okay. And then the Titan being destroyer, it looks great. It looks great.
Okay, when I Google search it, it brings up that original 30th anniversary pack with the marathon armor in it. Oh, there it is. Okay.
I think it looks good personally.
I mean,
it should not be lost how much armor is earnable in game, how many cosmetics are earnable now, and how many they are also just giving away for free with codes.
We've been asking for that for a long time.
Yeah, literally since before this show started. And again, we didn't just get one monkey paw curl. We got an entire wildlife sanctuary. So I got everything I asked for, and the game's dead. Well, Corey, on that depressing note, let's go to the lore corner.
Lore corner.
Lore corner. We do not have a lot of lore corner remaining, my friends. We just have some.
Just some.
We just have a few. I'm going to read two of these tonight, just because they're both a little bit long, but they're both ones that we referenced earlier. This first one comes from the Bermuda-class hover ship. So there's a flavor text by Crow to open this up. It's an Arcadia class underneath, some kind of vintage gold age retrofit. Crow. Teox. Savathun speaks the name with venom. A dredgen and a lucent knight stand before her deep within the bone-white towers of her throne world. The knight does not bow, nor avert his gaze from the Witch Queen, even as the dredgen known as Bale lowers his head in respect. She knows this knight, Geist, but not why he limits himself to fighting alongside a lightless dredgen. Savathun's face contorts in a lipless smile. Teox is surely dead from a lifespan long exhausted. Why bother bringing another rumor to me? Teox is alive, Bale asserts. She's gathering strength in the Vex network on a simulated fundament. Bale meets Savathun's gaze and steps forward with a well-hidden limp before planting himself. My master offers passage to her location for your service in ridding a thorn from our side. Savathun spreads her wings and flexes them as she stands. Awfully bold for planetary dust and their meat puppets to come here asking me to do their dirty work. They're playing the same game I am, and for all the foresight in the world, they're much worse at it. Geist strides in the place beside Bale. Slay the conductor, and with her death, Six will open a path through folded Vex space. Bale raises a hand to Geist, who sneers but then quiets. The Witch Queen's eyes shift from Bale to Geist and back. It feels like I'm doing all the heavy lifting here, Savathun says curiously. Six offers you the echo and all the control it conveys. The dredgen's words land with heavy gravity. Savathun's eyes widen. Take it and crush your enemy. Turn her to your will if you wish. Is that so? Savathun purrs. Where does this path lead for Six, my dear new friend? Bale's face hardens. Where do paths take any of us? From where we are to where we must be. To escape. You know. These are the terms. Geist spits over Bale's shoulder. All that is required is that you sweep aside a weakening upstart and tithe her death to 6. What say you, Witch Queen? Teox. The Witch Queen's smile widens. Kind of fascinating that they're still talking about the echoes here at the end. That we never really got a total answer for. Ikora kind of follows up on the echo of command in her dialogue that you get on Nessus, talking about how Maya can no longer control it. And all of a sudden she's exited the Vex network, and Ikora doesn't understand why. And I can't help but wonder if it ties into this, into all of what's happening here. This was clearly a way to try and keep Bale in the story. They couldn't just leave Timu Kylo Ren off to the side. Wish we could have gotten some more dialogue from Alex Lee outside of just the exotic mission, but here we are. I do think it's interesting that we're still getting characters fleshed out here, though, like Geist, and revealing that Teox is alive. I mean, they really just said, fuck it, we ball. We're full sending here. We're full sending. Teox was actually the teacher of Savathun, Xivu Arath, and Oryx when they were members of the court, back when they were Krill. So, Teox has eluded them for a very long time, and they assumed she was dead, but the last surviving Krill that escaped the massacre and the conversion of their people. So, really, really interesting they were willing to bring that up. But also, like, it was a way to bring Fundament to us within the Vexnet. That's so fat. That's not something I would have considered. That's fascinating that they were even toying with the idea. Like, clearly we were going to end up there eventually, whether it was in the next expansion, Shattered Cycle, or not.
Yeah.
We were clearly going to end up there. We knew Savathun was still out there. We know Xivu is still around. Bale obviously made his little Darth Vader getaway. Forever going to upset me that that's the end of the final campaign that we got. But just,
yeah. We got a trench run, though. Don't worry.
God. All right. Unanswered anti-shell. This is basically the lament as a ghost shell. My dear Anastasia, we have held barriers between us for too long. To remedy this, I will be the first to begin the dismantling and rebuilding process. I forgive you and Elizabeth. I recognize your efforts to undermine me, my legacy, and our family's corporation have been under the banner of altruism. Let us bury the past and build anew. I know my methodologies and logic have been perceived as disagreeable by some, but considering recent events, now is time for me to rejoin humanity. Since my reawakening, the only person who has come to keep me any regular company has been an upstart named Fenchurch. His relationship with his niece was my inspiration for mending our bridge. He has proven to be quite an acquaintance, though, sharing much of what I have missed while being abandoned in this basement. Most notably, he has told me about the prophecy to bind the Nine. This has piqued my interest, as you might imagine. It's also the reason why, after years of sharing our family's knowledge and resources to bolster the city's foundries and his trading company's ornamental wares, he has agreed to hand deliver this message to you. I believe I am the only one knowledgeable enough to get through to these celestial bodies for the benefit of our lineage and all of mankind. After my previous experience with the exoframe, our combined knowledge should enable me to place my consciousness into a new, fully formed frame. Once mobile, I am willing to join your Vanguard's leadership for the betterment of humanity. I await your arrival, Grandfather. Even at the end of all things, Clovis Bray, still a piece of shit. Still an absolute piece of shit. He doesn't actually want to mend fences here. You know, for those who are not reading between the lines, he doesn't actually want to mend fences. He wants to seize power by any means possible. I would assume he has a plan to kill the Vanguard leadership and seize control of the city.
Yeah, that would
be my take on this. I did always think it was really funny that we kept Clovis just locked in the basement and only went down there for the occasional quest. It was just really, really fascinating to me that we did that and just kind of like hand waved it.
That was my hand wave.
Interesting. But yeah, not a whole lot to read between the lines here. Although I do love that we're getting a final Fenchurch mention. Fenchurch is somebody that I had always hoped in the final update we would see just show up. But the fact that, I mean, there's other lore pieces that we're going to go over in the coming weeks that involve guys like Shin Malphur, Mara, and Crow. It's like, man, I just wish I had gotten the fact that this series is going to end without Shin appearing on screen just breaks my heart. That Clovis never really evolved beyond, ooh, spooky bad guy, supposedly the smartest mind who ever lived, and, just piece of shit trapped in a giant head. So, yeah, this is one of those threads that if they do make a future game, I'd be totally fine with them not picking up on. I think it's one of the, I don't think it's uninteresting. It's just in terms of like Hive Civil War, Fundament, Torah Bottle, like all that's kind of grouped in together because it's all running concurrent, right? And, Mara's quest. I still want to know who Mara was talking to when she was, quote unquote, talking to somebody in her court that was not a fan of light bearers. I really would I just have to know
Who do you think it was?
to.
Who do you think it was?
I have no idea. That was during the events of Forsaken. Oh, man. Not a fan of light bearers. I would have to think potentially Keitel. No, I don't think she would have granted an audience to Keitel. She wouldn't have granted one to Savathun. She definitely wasn't talking to the witness. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. That's going to remain one of the missions. I'm sure Bife has answered it somewhere, and I just don't remember. Yeah, I think that's going to be it.
That's it.
I think that's, unless you have any final thoughts, I think that's it for us.
No, I mean, nothing that I haven't already said. I think Destiny is in an amazing spot right now, and it sucks that it's the end. I mean, but we're going to say that for the next month until we figure out how to wrap this show up and get some special guests on here and all that stuff, I'm excited for some potential guests though, Josh, before the end.
Yep, I've talked to a few people. I've talked to one about joining us for the final episode, and I've talked to 2 others about once I've cleared the Pantheon tiers, about sitting down with me for a final look back at the raid and dungeon content of Destiny and Destiny 2.
Nice. I've talked to some people who we'll say previously worked on Destiny to come on and talk about it, and the crossover that people have been asking for 3 or 4 years now, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let people figure that out on their own, but they know. And I haven't heard back. I'm going to preface this, but I did reach out to the originator of the name Tower Casuals to see if he would like to be on just for a minute. Because the Tower Casuals are back with Sparrow Racing League. So but I'm excited, Josh. I'm excited to celebrate with people who love this game as much as we do, to kind of put a nice little bow on this. And like you said, the last time we recorded, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I don't know, but I'm glad that we didn't have to end the show. I'm glad that Destiny is kind of ending it for us, and we kind of go out with the game. Because obviously a lot of podcasts don't do that. They just kind of end when they feel like it's over. But I'm glad we can do that. So, but yeah. Anyways, Josh, thank you for your time as always. I appreciate you. I am gonna go pack because I'm going out of town, and I have not packed yet. So that's one thing.
And I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah, I mean, I should probably go to bed too. I have a 10 to 12 hour drive tomorrow, so that's like fun with 2 children under the age of 8. So anyways, everybody out there, enjoy your weekend. Everybody out there, thank you so much for watching and listening. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye. If you want to become a supporter of Boss Rush, you can head on over to patreon.com/Boss Rush Network. You can choose a tier that's right for you for as little as $1 a month, and you can even follow us for free. Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Francisco Santillan, Celeste Roberts of Read Only Magazine, Christian S. of Franchise Festival, Todd Okstra of Fandom Foundry, Making Fun of MacGyver, Chat of the Wild, a Legend of Zelda podcast, and Sana Dirrig. Thanks for your continued support of Boss Rush Media and the Boss Rush Network.